Marylin Pierre, the candidate for Montgomery County Circuit Court Judge. We support her with our time, our talent, and our treasure. She's back, a qualified lawyer who persists. Yeah. Today, Juneteenth holiday, we embody the spiritual principles of freedom and fairness. We give thanks in advance for everyone here today that we see you virtually and in person, for all our commitment and our action taken over the next year to ensure our accomplished candidates' success in Montgomery County election. Amen, amen, ashe. Ashe.
Thank you very much, Ms. Oliver, for the invitation. At this point, we will be introducing State Attorney Aisha Breakboy, and for the reading of her bio, please help me welcome Aludumi Oni.
Hello everyone, my name is Oludumi Oni. I will be introducing State Attorney Aisha Breakboy. State Attorney Aisha Breakboy is the top law enforcement officer in Prince George's County, Maryland. Ms. Breakboy is responsible for the administration of justice for more than 900,000 residents. She manages a budget of roughly $22 million and a staff of over 200, including approximately 100 attorneys. Ms. Breakboy has implemented innovative and successful reforms to reduce mass incarceration while protecting the welfare of the community. Ms. Breakboy was the first prosecutor in Maryland and one of the first in the nation to strategically lower the local jail population through her celebrated initiative, Operation Safe Release, and by instructing her prosecutors to discontinue the practice of requesting cash bail. Since taking office, Ms. Breakboy created a public integrity unit that focuses on police abuse and public corruption cases. She also established a conviction and sentencing integrity unit, also known as CSIU, the first of its kind in the state, which reviews cases of defendants alleged wrongful conviction or dispassionating sentencing. The CSIU was awarded a grant from the Department of Justice to investigate wrongful conviction cases. The unit has also secured the release of several reformed juvenile offenders. With the goal of ending the school to prison line pipeline, she transformed the juvenile unit and renamed it the Youth Justice Unit, also known as YJU, and has engaged community-based programs, mental behavioral health professionals, government agencies, and the school system. YJU has substantially reduced the number of children who are prosecuted and those reoffending. Ms. Breakboy plans to use a similar model in the implementation of a new emerging adult program for offenders ages 18 to 26. Ms. Breakboy is expanding diversion opportunities for nonviolent offenders. She's grown the number of participants in the Back on Track program, first created by Vice President Kamala Harris, which gives first-time felony drug offenders a second chance. Under Ms. Breakboy's leadership, the program was expanded to include misdemeanor gun offenders. Prior to being elected, State's Attorney Ms. Breakboy volunteered 17 years as the General Counsel for the Community Public Awareness Council, a program that diverted over 4,000 students from the criminal justice system. In 2006, Ms. Breakboy was elected to represent the 25th Legislative District in the Maryland General State Assembly. During her 8-year tenure, she was selected by her peers to serve as chair of the Legislative Black Caucus of Maryland. Ms. Braithwaite graduated from University of Maryland, College Park, where she received her Bachelor of Arts degree and received her Juris Doctorate from Howard University School of Law. Ms. Braithwaite is a proud member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome State's Attorney Aisha Braithwaite.
Montgomery County more often. But seriously, this is such a wonderful day. First, happy Juneteenth. It was so amazing. I got the notice because my office is in the courthouse, and so we go by the court schedule. And while the county, Juneteenth was celebrated as a county holiday, it was not a state holiday. And so the courts were going to be open on Friday. So on Thursday, midday, I got a notice that after the president signed the executive order, that guess what? We are closed on Friday. So my whole staff was very happy. But elections have consequences, right? An election should reflect our values. And that's why we are here, because there's an election coming up next year, 2022, and there is a qualified, smart, innovative, and a woman of the people who will be on the ballot. And her name right now is Marylin Pierre. I know that one day we will call her Honorable Judge Marylin.
That's right.
You know, when you heard about the reforms we're making to reduce mass incarceration, focusing on assisting juvenile lifers, I mean, these are people who were, 14, 15, 16 when they committed very serious offenses. So I'm not gonna, pretend like these individuals committed just a simple offense. They committed serious offenses, but they were young. They grew up. They have paid their price, and they have changed, and they've been restored. But there was nowhere for them to go. They were just going to languish in prison. And before this year, when the legislature, I worked with the legislature to create a new law called the Juvenile Restoration Act, which gave juvenile lifers a second chance. But before the state passed the law, I was doing it. And the reason I was able to be successful in doing it, we have, since we started this, released about 14 or 15 juvenile lifers. The reason why we were able to do that is because I had judges on the bench who were willing to hear these cases. They were willing because they didn't have to. It was not a guarantee that just because a motion was filed that the judge had to consider the motion. But I had some great judges, and our chief judge who believe, like I believe, in the power of redemption. And so we need to have more judges, not just in Prince George's County, but Montgomery County, Howard County, and all across the state that recognize their responsibility in this justice system. Yes, we want to hold people accountable. Yes, we want them to decide to provide appropriate sentences, but the system doesn't end at the sentence. There are post-conviction proceedings, and they're there for a reason. They're there because it recognizes that people change over time. And what might have been just 20 years ago might not still be just today. And there has to be an allowance in the system for that. And we need judges who are willing to be courageous, who are willing to step up and say, no, I have to be a part of the change too. And that's why I'm so excited that Marylin Pierre is going to be a judge, because she recognizes her responsibility and she is unafraid. She is running against a machine designed to hold folks like her who haven't been anointed or appointed down. what? I got my own machine.
Yes.
Her machine's in this room. I'm in Prince George's County, so I was focused over there, focused on the national election, and then I saw, I think a post about folks trying to tear Marylin Pierre down. But I said, oh no, I know Marylin Pierre because she was president of the State Regular Board Bar Association. I know her to be a veteran. I know her to be a woman of integrity. And it was cold. It was rainy, but I came out for you. Not because you do anything for me, but you should go to them. So, I want to congratulate you on your candidacy. I want to, okay, the family, let you, she's looking some time. Y'all gonna have to cook dinners, give her a massage, and sometimes she's not gonna be in the best mood, I know. But just pray for her, and we'll pray for you all. But no, but pray for her, because she's on a mission. She has an assignment, and she needs us to help her complete that assignment. So Marylin, I love you. I'm so excited for you. I know that you're going to do a wonderful job in the election and post-election, and I'm so grateful to be here to say a few words on your behalf, my sister. And good luck and congratulations.
Let us please have another round of applause for State Attorney. Our next speaker today will be Julie Pineda. Julie Pineda is an extraordinary youth advocate. Ms. Pineda has an associate degree in education and training from Montgomery College. She has collaborated with teachers to develop effective, individualized learning strategies conducive to her students' needs. Ms. Pineda is trained in crisis prevention and de-escalation techniques. She also well-versed in child psychology and behavioral intervention techniques. Ms. Pineda knows that there are plenty of behavioral intervention that can improve a young person's behavior without hindering his future prospects. The current court system emphasis on punishment is not one of them. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to youth advocate, Julie Pineda.
Hi everyone, happy Juneteenth. My name is Julie Pineda. I'm here to proudly endorse Marylin Pierre for judge. Bilingual, I'm a first generation Salvadorian American. I've lived here in Montgomery County most of my life, and I've attended Montgomery County Public Schools and now work as a paraeducator at Northwood High School. So I spend much of my time helping the youth, particularly youth of color and immigrant students in my spare time. But it wasn't until my little brother was interrogated at his middle school that I caught a glimpse of the problems of our criminal system. He was taken out of his class in the middle of the day to be interrogated and questioned by the police. And it was hours after that our family was informed at the end of the school day of what had transpired. It turned out that he was confused or taken as another little boy from another little school with the same name, or whatever that young man did. But schools shouldn't be working behind our backs to criminalize students, regardless. And needless to say, our family was very upset, shaken, and disturbed by what had happened. And unfortunately, this is a problem that many people face in our county. Some community members have shared their stories with me, and I've heard one of their child go missing for days after a police interaction, and they were not communicated with until after the child had trumped up charges, and a judge had made a decision that would forever alter their lives and their families' lives by extension. This is part of a much bigger problem. Our prison industrial complex profits off of the criminalization of Black and brown people. And in the state of Maryland, we over-incarcerate African Americans in proportion to the population more than any state in the nation. Yes. Judges have a lot of power, and they're contributing to the problem. We need judges who are for the people. Marylin Pierre is the only candidate for judge who acknowledges the criminalization of our Black and brown people. She's committed to reducing the criminalization of Black and brown people, reforming our juvenile system, and leading with compassion and fairness. She openly advocates for transformative justice and has real solutions to our incarceration problem. And we have a chance to make a real change in our community and to show those in power that we will not stand idly by as they continue to profit off the over-incarceration of Black and brown people and criminalizing people as young as 13, 12, 11, and 10 years old, because it's not right. We have power to, and we can vote judges in, we can vote them out, and we will show them that we not only need change, we demand it.
Yes.
There's only one choice that does this, and one vote that helps us start towards that path, and that is to vote for Marylin Pierre. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Julie Panetta. Please, let's have another round of applause. Our next speaker is Mayor Jeffrey Slavin. For the reading of his bio, I will have Aludini Koli come up to the lectern.
Mayor Jeffrey Slavin is a graduate of Tufts University, Georgetown University Law Center, and the State and Local Government Program at Harvard's Kennedy School. Mayor Slavin has also participated in numerous leadership programs, including Leadership Montgomery and Leadership Maryland. He was initially elected as mayor of Somerset and Montgomery County, Maryland in 2008. After serving 6 years as a member of the Town of Somerset Council, he's quite active in the Montgomery County philanthropic community and non-profit sector, and has served on a variety of boards and commissions. He's a member of the Maryland Mayors Association. He has been elected to several terms on the board of directors of the Maryland Municipal League and as a trustee of the Community Foundation for Montgomery County. In 2011, Mayor Slavin was named Montgomery County's Philanthropist of the Year. He has been a licensed real estate broker since 1983, and he has his own property management company for over 30 years. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a hand for Mayor Jeffrey Slavin.
Okay, so I know everybody is so congratulatory and happy about Juneteenth being passed as a federal holiday, right? But what I want to say is that I've been celebrating Juneteenth for decades, and I celebrate freedom for Black people every day. And it's great, that the Congress passed it. My dear friends, Congresswoman Barbara Lee and Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, have been advocating for this for years. But what I'm really afraid of is that, this is going to be check the box for white people, and that, we're going to not deal with the real issues of institutional racism. So yes, we need to celebrate today, but let's also celebrate every day the freedom. And I'm not really sure that Black people are free in this country.
That's right.
But if we elect Marylin Pierre as judge, that will take a step in that direction. So why do we need to elect Marylin Pierre? So Montgomery County's judicial nominating process is outdated and favors those in the club over those with the ability to do the job. Montgomery County's judicial bench does not reflect the changed demographics of our county. Montgomery County needs a judge who knows our citizens, especially those who are Black and brown, those who are born in other countries, and those who have served our country in the armed forces. Montgomery County needs a judge with a distinguished record and who has loads of experience with clients from underserved areas, not corporations and those of privilege. And that's why we need Marylin Pierre. Now, last year, as you know, Marylin won the system is broke, but this is the system that we have. Last year, Marylin won the Democratic primary, right? Not only did she came in third. I mean, you could vote for 4, she came in third. And she beat the system. Then, after the primary, the Democratic Party did not come to her aid. The Democratic Party let her down. But and resources were used by the legal establishment, dominated by white privileged attorneys with something to protect, I guess. And Marylin was torn down, unfairly, and it was terrible. So we're not going to let that happen again this year. So what we need to do is I want everybody to take all those bumper stickers better be gone. All that literature better be gone, and get online and tell everybody that you were here today, and let's organize and get Marylin nominated in June and elected in November of 2022. Okay? And don't forget, so don't forget, unfortunately, elections cost money. So, and every dollar counts. So if it's $1 or thousands of dollars, I don't know what the limit is. But please save your pennies and send a check to Marylin. I got my first check.
Yeah.
You'll get his home address and send the checks, right? Okay. So thanks a lot, everybody, and get to work. And I look forward to seeing all of you at many rallies to come.
Please help me to give another round of applause to Mayor Jeffrey Clayton. And for the lady of the hour, the person that we all came here to support, Attorney Marylin Pierre, I will ask Alubini only one more time to come up to the lectern and to read her Bible. Thank you.
Marylin Pierre has been practicing law for over 29 years in Maryland. Marylin is licensed to practice law in the state of Maryland, District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and the state of New York. Marylin has a cradle-to-grave law practice. She has represented many clients in family law cases such as divorce, custody, maternity, juvenile law, criminal law, estate planning, and probate. She has mobilized volunteers to work with Wills for Heroes to to write estate planning documents for the first responders in Montgomery County. She's helped change the law to make it easier for people to adopt children. She's represented parents who are in danger of losing custody of their children because they could not afford to pay a lawyer. She's helped children who are court involved navigate the ups and downs of the judicial system and receive justice. Marylin supported business owners by teaching classes and at the United States Small Business Administration, the African American Chamber of Commerce of Montgomery County, and the People's Community Baptist Church Chamber of Commerce. She is legal advisor of the Business and Professional Women of Maryland, the vice president of the Rockville Mid-County Democratic Breakfast Club, and a former general counsel of the Montgomery County Historic Society. She's a retired first lieutenant in the United States Army Reserve Military Police Corps and a former chair of the Montgomery County Criminal Justice Coordinating Commission. Marylin is a past president of the J. Franklin Bourne Bar Association, Maryland's largest and most active bar association. She is a board member of the Maryland State Board of Occupational Therapy and the vice president of the Rockville Mid-County Democratic Breakfast Club. A former Montgomery County Circuit Court facilitator, a former court-appointed special advocate, a former legal redress attorney for the NAACP Montgomery County branch, and a former member of the Maryland State Democratic Central Committee. You can tell she's great. She is a recipient of the Daily Records Maryland's Top 100 Women in 2010, 2012, and 2014. She's admitted to the Daily Records Maryland's Top 100 Women's Circle of Excellence. She's a recipient of the Montgomery County Democratic Central Committee Morgan Journey Community Service Award. She received a Montgomery County Bar Association Pro Bono Award and the Maryland Women in NAACP Award. She's recognized as a bar leader by the Montgomery County Bar Foundation and as a Pro Bono star by the Maryland Pro Bono Resource Center. She recently recognized as one of the Sheroes of Montgomery County by the Austin chapter of the Links. Marylin and her husband, Marylin Pierre, have been married for over 27 years and have 2 sons and a daughter. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Attorney Marylin.
All right,
Hello everyone, my name is Marylin Pierre. I want to thank you so much for being here. It just warms my heart that so many of you have supported me and have continued to support me. I'm just so thrilled. I would like you to meet my campaign manager, Leonard P. Hasn't he done a great job for you? And of course, Leonard involved the whole family, so his whole family is here. His wife is here, his granddaughter is here, his sons are here, everybody's here. And so I took a cue from him and I brought almost my whole family. I have my husband here, Marylin Pierre. I have my son here. He is the videographer, producer, doing all kinds of good. Yeah. And then I have my son Martin, who is sitting here trying not to be nervous. He's a middle child. So, and I cannot tell you how happy I am that today is also a federal holiday. Yay! Of course, you received notice. You know that we had said on this day many weeks ago, months ago. Yeah, well, we settled on this day because this day to me is just so special. It's special for a couple reasons. The first reason is I really like to educate people. And I don't mean that in a sort of like, well, I know better than you and I'm educated. No, that's not it. What I mean is I love to pass on education to people, and I love it when they pass it back because I'm a life learner and I love to be around life learners as well. So Juneteenth has always been a big deal for me. The idea that somebody could have been emancipated on January 1st, 1863, but have not found out about it until June 19, 1865. Could you imagine? Here you are, you have all these rights, and you're not educated enough in terms of what your rights are, that almost two and a half years later, you still thinking that you are an enslaved person. So sad. So that's why I chose this date. I chose this date for another reason. And the reason that I chose this date is because my oldest son, Guillaume, today's his birthday. So I like to say 26 years ago, I went into labor, bringing him into this world, and I'm still feeling it. And today, I am putting him to work for me. So, thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. My husband has been with me throughout the idea that some of the things that we have to do in order to help me, I know he has extended himself out of his comfort level to help me, and I really appreciate that. I would like you guys to give him a And Julie did such a great job with the introduction to the fire. Thank you so very much. And I love the idea of Julie. She is just such an excellent student. She used to be president of the student body when she was in high school. She is now a rising sophomore in college, and she wants to be a judge when she grows up. So and we have Sarah and Joy over there who is who is over there, and she is a person who is just able to help us with anything that we needed. We really appreciate that. And even though she has left because she has 10,001 things to do, we will also give a hand to the state's attorney, Aisha Baker. And also Zuni Pineda, oh my gosh. And last but not least, we have Mayor Jeffrey Saban over here. So thank you so much for being here. I could not believe some of the things that they said about me last year. I just couldn't believe it. But let me start in 2016. In 2016, I started running for judge. And everybody was saying, why are you running for judge? Do we vote for judge? Are they on the ballot? What are you doing here? These nice people over here, why are you bothering them? They always run uncontested, or if they did, we didn't know this. So let's let them do their thing. And I said, well, they might be nice out here, but I have a different experience, and my clients have a different experience. And I tried to go through the way that they told that I had to go through, and I fought the battle over and over again, and I just was not making any headway. And I couldn't figure out why. Because as Denise said, I am a well-qualified person. I would say that in a sort of bragging thing. I said it in terms of fact. My credentials are so excellent that they thought that I was lying about them. And they complained. They're like, no, she cannot be all that. And I'm like, yes, I am. Yes, I am. And they're like, but we don't have any of those things. It's like, but that's you. I was here serving the people. It was nice to be recognized for these things. I wish some of it came with money. So, but I just love practicing law. I come alive when it comes to practicing law. I love helping people. And I was just doing my thing. And then I got to the point where I was seeing some things that I just didn't like. And I said to myself, oh my gosh, how can I help keep these things from happening to the people that I'm serving? And I looked around and I said, you know what? I like to argue, so So I don't really want to be a judge, because as a judge, you're supposed to, put on that neutral hat and keep it there. Then I looked at myself and I said, wait a second, I've been a facilitator for years, so I have been wearing the neutral hat. And I could put on the advocate hat when it's time and put on the neutral hat when it's time. So I said, yeah, I think I'd be a good judge. So then I tried. And the harder I tried to go through the system, the harder they kicked me down. And what they did, for instance, is they would put me through the ringer. And I couldn't understand why. And then I would go to the swearing-in ceremony of the person who got the position and found out, oh, okay, this person knew this person. I would hear things like, oh yeah, we went golfing a couple of weeks ago in North Carolina. Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, wait a second, you're doing the interview for me for a job, and the person who got the job, you went golfing with a couple of weeks ago in North Carolina. I think I would have liked to have known that information. What happened to me the last time that I applied is, I said, I'm not going through this again. And they love to say how I applied 9 times. Yeah, I applied 9 times, so what? If you want to have a job, you apply as many times as The last time I went, and the reason why I decided not to go through that again is I went through there, and there was this woman on the commission who put me through the ringer. Now, I'm a litigator. I'm in court a whole lot. I deal with a lot of sharp elbows. My skin is thick. I'm not going to cry home just because somebody said something nasty about me. So I was like, oh my gosh, I was really taken aback at how mean she was.
And it was a white woman,
And well. She didn't look like me. So anyway, I said to myself, let me get this right. I didn't sleep with her husband. I didn't kick her puppy. Why would she be so mean to me? All I did was apply for a job. A public servant job to be exact. And, she's the gatekeeper. What did I do wrong? And then I went to the swearing-in ceremony of the person who got that position. And she spoke. And she was just so happy, and she went on and on about, oh my God, I'm so glad that this person got the position. He's the best thing since sliced bread. And he gave me my first job as a lawyer, and I was like, oh, he's my husband's former law partner, and I was like, oh, and he and his wife and my husband and I, we hang out together all the time, and I'm like, well, you didn't have to make me feel bad just because you wanted somebody else. I mean, it's just courtesy. If somebody's interviewing for a job, be professional about it and move on. And I realized that, they're never going to let me in no matter what my qualifications are. So that's why I need you. And what brought me to this point where I feel that I need to be on the bench are several different things that happened to clients of mine. I remember I had this client who was married to this man, and her 16-year-old daughter came to her and said, well, we have kids in the room, but her 16-year-old daughter said to her, he is doing to me what he should be doing with his life. And so my client did what she was supposed to do. She called the police. And they did what they were supposed to do. They arrested him. He made bail, which, that's the way things are. He had no criminal record. There was no reason for him not to make bail. He made bail and went to live someplace else. My client and his 14-year-old son went to visit him. And the 14-year-old son was highly suggestible. So he told his 14-year-old son, go home and get rid of the witness who's going to testify against me. And the 14-year-old son went home and tried to do that, and thankfully he was not successful. And when my client found out that happened, she knew that he was going to do it again. And so then she could not take the chance that he was going to do something to her sister. So she did what she was supposed to do yet again. She called the Department of Health and Human Services, that's Montgomery County, and other counties, they're called the Department of Social Services, but in Montgomery County, we're fancy. So So she called the Department of Health and Human Services, told them what happened. The social workers came and did their job and brought the case to court. And the reason why she called him is because she could not leave him at the side of the road because that would have been felony neglect and then she would have been in trouble. So she did the proper thing. So we go to court. She's distraught because she has to kick her son out of her house to really no fault of his own because he had no intention to do anything bad to his sister until the thought was put into his head. We're there. She's nervous. She's upset. She has to make this Sophie's choice kind of decision. And after everybody introduces themselves, you guys have seen, court on TV, people introduce themselves. Lawyers introduce themselves and their clients. So we all go through that. The first thing that the judge said after everybody introduces themselves is, why are you using an interpreter? And I said, Your Honor, that's inappropriate. Well, I want to know why are you speaking to my client? Why are you using an interpreter? Your Honor, this is inappropriate. She needs an interpreter. That's why she's using the interpreter. Well, I want to know because the interpreters cost us money, and if you knew how to speak English, we would not be paying this extra money over here. Your Honor, this is totally inappropriate. You should not be doing that. And this is, my client is not here for that. She needs the services of an interpreter. The court has an interpreter for her, so that's why she's using it. Well, because he has to have the last word. Well, tell her that if she doesn't learn to speak English in the next 6 months, I am going to hold her in contempt of court and put her in jail. I kid you not. That's what happens. And English is my third language, so I thought that was really personal, and I really felt the pain of that. I know that my mother to this day, if she were to come to court, she would need an interpreter, even though she has been a citizen of this country for how many years. And it was really distasteful what happened, because not only was he that mean to her, but he dressed her down in front of her husband, the man who started all of this. And guess what? He was using the interpreter. Yet he had no problem with the husband using the interpreter, but for whatever reason, he honed it on my client, and it was my client's fault that she was costing the court so much money. Okay, that's one story. Another story is I had this 18-year-old client who, he's been in trouble before, but he had no criminal record. Because I had represented him in a couple of things, and I got probation before judgment for him. I got intervention programs for him, and things of that sort. So none of those count towards a criminal record. He then gets charged with theft over $1,000 because he supposedly stole $1,000 from a restaurant that he was working in using credit cards and things of that sort. The only thing that they showed in reference to him was that he stole $46 because they had a sting where they put a camera in the wall and they put $46 in a box, and he came in with $46. He is seen on camera taking the $46, and he was not supposed to take it. So they never showed the $1,000 or so that they claimed that he stole. Not one credit card receipt, not anything. So when we tried the case, we said, Your Honor, the only proof that they have is this $46 over here. There's no proof that he stole over $1,000 like he claimed. The judge didn't even respond to that. What he did do is that he gave my client a 10-year sentence. Yes, 18 years old, and like I said, no criminal record based on the way we look at someone's criminal record. 10 years. And so I asked, when I went down there, because I was shocked. I mean, I was really shocked. So when I went down there, the deputies who was in the courtroom said to me, unsolicited, she just said to me, my God, what did you do to that judge? And I'm like, what do you mean? I was respectful. I said, my client's talking. She's like, no, that's not what I meant. What I meant is, he really is upset with me over something. I'm like, well, I don't know what he's upset about. But what I've come to find out that he was upset about is, some people think that if you try to do something another way, of the way that they've been using it, you are punching above your weight. And so therefore, they have to hold you accountable for that and make sure that you suffer. And so it also meant that my client had to suffer. Fortunately, we appealed the case. And so in a couple of weeks, he was in front of a circuit court judge who then said, oh my God, I can't believe that. I am, going to, just time served and just let him get out of jail. That is it. So he only spent a couple of weeks in jail, which is not easy, but just to say he did not spend 10 years. And I was really actually proud of the fact that that happened, because when I was at the polls last June, this young lady came up and talked to me, and she said, I would like to talk with you. And I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm campaigning, I'm passing out cards, here's my number, give me a call. And she did. She said that she was a student at the University of Maryland a couple of years ago. She and her friend went down to the Eastern Shore. They decided, like, students who have whose grades have not completely formed yet. That's what happens. Science school, that's sorry. That they decided that they were going to steal something, the drill on it. And so she stole something that Walmart was selling for $4.99. Her friend stole something closer to $100, less than $100. So they both got charged with theft under $100. They're both students at the University of Maryland. She comes before a judge who finds her guilty of theft under $100. Her friend goes before a judge who gives her probation before judgment. So she has a criminal record. Her friend does not. And that has had a significant impact on her life. Because now she has to check the box. Because she stole something that was on sale at Walmart for $4.99. Now, whenever she is asked, have you ever been convicted of a crime? She has to check yes. She graduated from the University of Maryland with an aviation degree. She cannot get a job because she cannot get a security clearance. It's been 5 years, $4.99. The way the expungement laws work is she will have to check that box until the conviction is 10 years old and hope that whoever's the governor after 10 years has passed could pardon her. So that way she could no longer check the box. No matter what happens, she is at least 5 years behind her counterparts who got the degree that she did. I mean, talk about lost potential. You could just imagine how intelligent this young woman is. Who knows what she could be doing with her aviation degree? But she can't use it. And that's why I am running for judge. Because it is so important that we have people in there who understand what impact decisions that young people make when their brains are not fully formed could have on them after their brains are fully formed. And I'm not saying that we just like it's a very brave voice said, we're not saying that they should get a pass. We're just saying that there should be more understanding. Zuli talked about some of the statistics in terms of Maryland. Maryland's statistics are appalling. They are embarrassing. We are number one in incarcerating our young black males. Number one. We incarcerate 25% more of our young black males than the second nearest state, Mississippi. Yes. No, we're number one. Mississippi's number two. By 25%. By 25%. Yes, Tony?
We are also number one in racial profiling. Number one in the country.
Tony says we're number one of everyone. This is Tony Puga. Everybody knows Tony. Yeah, Tony said that we are number one also in racial profiling. Yeah, it's appalling. The Justice Policy Institute statistics that I just read, and also that's what Zuli was talking about as well. It talks about how the reason why it is like that is because of the excessive punishments that the judges are given. It's really sad when you sit in a courtroom and you see these young people do things like young people do. And I could tell you could tell yourself that I was a troublemaker. You know, I have always been a mouthy child. You tell me no, and I want to know why not, and who makes you the boss of me, and all that kind of stuff. So I could see, you know, and I learned early on, thank goodness, that if I was smart about it, then I wouldn't get punished as hard. so that was really helpful. But the idea that people would get 10 years for stealing $46 or even $1,000. In Maryland, it costs almost $50,000 a year to incarcerate one person per year. My daughter is going to start at the University of Maryland in the fall, and that's for $50,000 a year. So imagine all the lost potential that we're losing just by putting people in jail for that amount of time. There are lots of intervention programs. You heard the state attorney Aisha Wade Boy's bio, and you see all the programs that she has in place. That's in Prince George's County. We need to have programs like that in Montgomery County because there's no reason why our children should be, and our young people should be criminalized when in other counties they might not necessarily be criminalized. And all the statistics and research talk about how people grow out of criminalization. If you are a certain age, you just, at a certain point you're like, oh, I'm not going to do that. Because at that point, you're thinking when you're talking cortex, and you understand the consequences of your action. And so because you understand the consequences of your action, you're like, oh, if I do A, I'll lead to B. No, I don't want B, so I'm not going to do A. What really was hurtful about what happened last year and all those nasty things they said about me, what did they say? They said I was racist, I was qualified, I hated